Hello friends, it's Nancy from Astrology and Angel Mediums today with a weekly check-in reading featuring my own little magpie Alleyman style tarot deck that I just put together during the holiday. You guys will get to see like a deck kind of walkthrough, hopefully like in the next week or so when the video posts. And I did actually make some other changes to it. But I already filmed the video, so it is what it is. So if you're like wondering why this looks like a mishmash of cards, because that's literally what it is. Okay, so let's see what we have in store for this week. I don't even know what day it is today. I think today's the 29th, so December 29th, Sunday, December 29th through, will it be January the 3rd, 4th? I think it's through January 4th, if I'm not mistaken. So let's see what we need to know for this week as a collective. So we have the 9 of Materials, or the 9 of Pentacles. Let's see what we need to know for, or what we need to do for this week as a collective. The Page of Wands. All right, what do we need to release? This one popped out, so we're gonna go with, maybe this is an extra message. All right, what do we need to release as a collective this week? So here we have the Muse of Inspiration, so the King of Wands. And then, let's see, and then what do we need to contemplate this week as a collective? We have the Princess of Cups. Okay. So, all right, I think we're ready. Okay. So what we need to know this week is the 9 of Materials, or the 9 of Pentacles. So essentially this is almost saying that all of our hard work, all of our, dedication to whatever it is that we've been doing, whether it's the year in general, because this is essentially the last week of this year of 2024, which is crazy. Maybe a lot of us are kind of reflecting on what did we accomplish? What did we complete? Maybe there's certain things that we feel, we need to kind of give that final push through in order to really finish the year strong, so to speak. But I think that this is also a moment for us to kind of step back and look at everything that we have overcome, everything that we have focused on, what's grown, where we have grown. And I think that this is almost saying like, maybe it's a reminder of our well-deserved rewards, of connecting a little bit more to understanding that even if certain things didn't really work out the way that we had anticipated, it doesn't make it any less meaningful to our experience and to what we needed to learn this year. As someone that has had a pretty challenging year, I can say that I have been very reflective on what needed to change, whether that was myself, whether that was my circumstances or my situation. I have been a little bit more focused on what does that mean for what I'm building for the upcoming year, as well as reflecting on everything that I have learned this year that has maybe been some sort of building block upon which I can co-create something more aligned for myself in 2025. So very long-winded kind of way of saying that I'm just trying to be proud of myself and be where I'm at, basically. It's hard to be very present at a lot of times, especially when there's so many different things that are kind of vying for your attention. And I think with the 9 of Materials, or the 9 of Pentacles, is that we are being reminded that it's time for us to look at what do we really need, what have we been focusing on, what is it that we have put a lot of ourselves into to grow, to co-create, and how can we kind of take that to the next level? Because I feel like with 9s, there's this reminder of we're almost there, but there's something that we need to kind of release and kind of move forward from. So what we need to know, This is what we need to know. This is what we need to do. What we need to do is the Page of Wands. Now, I feel like pages are this beautiful energy of kind of going out into the world with this almost positive expectation as to what this is going to look like moving forward. And I think with the Page of Wands, we're being told like, hey, we need to kind of go after like what makes us feel alive, what makes us feel creative, what makes us feel that sense of momentum and movement and creativity, and like what makes us kind of fired up. And I think with this week, especially as we're kind of finishing up this year and maybe as we're trying to kind of anticipate what comes next, a lot of us are trying to focus on like, okay, what is it that makes me feel connected to who I am, to what I want, to what actually speaks to me. So this may also be a time where some of us are still traveling. And I feel like that's a big thing that tends to come with the wands. I'm having a couple of wands cards that kind of came out today. I would definitely say that maybe we're still focused on not really being at home as much right now. And maybe we're wanting to kind of go out into these adventures and kind of see what's going on around us in different ways. And so I think with the Page of Wands, it's almost saying like it's time to kind of like be inspired again. Like what is inspiring us? What's kind of driving us? What's making us feel, again, that sense of excitement, that sense of curiosity. I think that's a big word that tends to come with the pages as well, is that there is this like childlike wonder that comes from, having like almost like positive expectancy as to what this is going to look like moving forward. So I think the end of the year is one of these time periods where a lot of us may spend a lot of time reflecting on everything that we've done. But I think that this is also kind of saying like, okay, so what are we going to do next year? What kind of energy are we trying to take into the next year? And whether that is like with manifestation boards or vision boards or, just really being focused on, clearing out the energy, moving into the next thing. I think that the Page of Wands is a gentle reminder that even if we feel like we don't have everything worked out the way that we thought it was going to be going this year, it is still significant for us to have, again, that kind of inspiration into what makes us feel like connected to the next phase. And I think this Page of Wands is very much kind of saying like, okay, what do we need to do? What's kind of lighting us up? Where can we have a little bit more fun? Don't be so serious. I know it's Capricorn season, but maybe have a little bit of fun. All right. So what we need to release is the Muse of Inspiration, the King of Wands. And I think that this is almost saying that maybe we've been too rigid with ourselves. Maybe we're forgetting that, we're all new at this. No matter how long you've been on planet Earth, I always have to remind myself, like, I've never been this old. I've never been this age. I don't know what it's like to be this, during this time period. I'm in my 40s. I'm still trying to figure out a lot of things that I really wish I would have had figured out by now, but that's okay because I just try to give myself that grace. And I think with the Muse of Inspiration or the King of Wands being here, and what we need to release is maybe this like expectation that we have to have things figured out a certain way, or that things have to be a certain way, or that we should be higher up than what we're doing at the current moment. Now, even if you're someone that has a lot of maybe physical or career success or life success or whatever you want to look at it as, I think that maybe we all kind of find fault with whatever it is that we have going on in our lives. And I think with the King of Wands being here with what we need to release is that maybe we need to just cut loose and have a little bit of fun, not be so strict with ourselves, not feel like, oh, if I'm not doing this, then my life isn't significant or my life is challenging or whatever it may be. So I think with this, we're kind of given this energy of understanding, excuse me, that maybe we need to surrender to the experience and not feel so tied down by some of the things that maybe we've committed to in the past. And I think with the King of Wands, we're kind of given this energy of saying, okay, it's okay for us to kind of go after things that light us up or things that we feel connected to or, kind of inspired by. And I think with the Muse of Inspiration, with what we need to release is that maybe we haven't really been doing those things, even if they don't make sense. So, like, one of the things I spent a lot of this week on was making like these little magpie tarot decks. Is it something that's useful for what I'm doing? Not really. Was it necessary? Not at all. But it was something that I thoroughly enjoyed, and I have just like kind of found it as like a very beautiful creative process for myself. So I think that this is kind of that energy again of like, stop trying to be so rigid with yourself. Like, stop trying to be so like it has to look like this. And the thing is that as we've evolved as a society, we have also forgotten some beautiful lessons that Mother Earth teaches us, which is to have our seasons. And maybe right now our season is not about pushing and doing and this and that. And it's unfortunate because we have a lot of celebratory holidays at this time of year, and we're still expected to maintain the same level of productivity that we have had all year versus, just taking the time out to just celebrate and not be tied down or tied up in all of the responsibilities and the things that we are expected to be completing. And I think with the King of Wands here is that maybe it's kind of saying like, okay, you have done everything you needed to do. Stop putting so much pressure on yourself to feel like I have to have it all figured out or it needs to look a certain way in order for it to be something that will be successful for myself. Now, finally, with what we need to contemplate, we have the Princess of Cups. I feel like this is, so essentially this is going to be the Page of Cups. So we have two pages, right? The cups are going to be the emotions, our feelings, our intuition, our relationships, our connections, things of that nature, while the Page of Wands is more of like our creativity, our movement, our fire. And I think with the Page of Cups here is that maybe we need to take some time out to just maybe reflect on what we didn't know this year or what we may not know about what's coming for this upcoming year. So I think with the the Princess of Cups in this deck is that it is a reminder of what is it that we really want? What is it that we really need? How can we, not so much to romanticize things to the point to where we're deluded, but maybe having like, again, that kind of beautiful kind of positive expectancy and this sense of I'm going towards things that feel right for me. I'm going towards things that intuitively feel more connected. I think with the Page of Cups is that a lot of people kind of look at it as like this romantic, kind of doe-eyed, not really seeing things quite so clearly sort of character in tarot. And I don't think it is just that. I think that there is this, again, this beautiful energy of being very intuitively excited about what comes next. And I think that's kind of what this card is kind of saying for us, is that maybe we need to kind of contemplate what feels intuitively correct for us. What is it that maybe we haven't really been paying as much attention to because we're so busy doing all the other things. And so I think that this is almost saying like, take some time out to kind of check in with how you really feel, make sure like you are watering yourself in some way, like really taking care of yourself, really looking at what your feelings are telling you right now, especially if you're like, everything's been looking this way, but now I feel like this is going to happen instead, or this, trust that there's a reason why we have that. And I think, Mars is actually going to, I think here pretty soon, retrograde. Mars is stationary retrograde in Cancer. And so I think like that's another thing, is that maybe we're going to be reflecting a lot on what is driving us, what makes us feel connected, what that looks like for us in 2025. So I think that the Princess of Cups is almost saying like, how can we connect a little bit more to the things that really drive us, the things that really inspire us, that really feel connected to the heart, and are an intuitive kind of element of what we want. So we did have this little jumper, the Four of Wands, which is essentially a card of like happy things coming together, joy and stability, like kind of being established. This is very much a card of like celebration of milestones and hitting goalposts and things of that nature. So it is kind of a reminder that maybe this week we still need to kind of celebrate. We need to take some time out to kind of look at the completion We also have another new moon in Capricorn on December 30th, I believe. So a lot of us may be, again, kind of reflecting on what did I accomplish? What did I do? What did I establish? Where was I more stable? Those are very Capricornian sort of aspects for us to consider. So I think with the Four of Wands here, we're being told like it's okay for us to celebrate. It's okay for us to take some time out and not feel like we have to pull back on our successes because of the hardships we've also endured. I know for a lot of people, they have a hesitation to proclaim their successes or whatever they've overcome and things of that nature, because unfortunately, a lot of people are not always going to be as supportive as you would like for them to be. And I think with the Four of Wands, it's almost saying like, how can you celebrate? How can you take some time out to prioritize who you are, what you're doing, what you need, and what that will look like moving forward? So I think that's why we have this little jumper. It's maybe just a reminder of what we have not been paying attention to. I'm going to try to grab this Moon Messages deck and see. That's the wrong one. All right, I'm going to pause this. I'm going to grab it. Okay, I grabbed a couple decks and I already pulled the card. I forgot to do it while the camera was on. Okay, so out of this Elemental Empath card, we have the card Relating, which is comparison, others' projection, self-reliance. Just like these other cards we're kind of talking about, is that maybe this is not the time to compare. This is not the time to sit here and be like, oh, that person did this and I only got this done, or I only did this, or whatever. And again, it's more of the connective aspect of it versus the, where you are found lacking, where you feel you could have done more, or this or that or the other. Everyone can just speak on the things that they've accomplished and not explain all of the moments where things weren't coming together. Things were challenging. There was a lot of strife or, obstacles and changes that they had to kind of learn to adjust to. And I think with the Relating card, it is kind of telling us to not be overly self-reliant as well. Again, I think relating is about connection. It is about coming together. And I think with like the Four of Wands, like kind of celebrating coming together, who feels right for us, where have we been too rigid with ourselves, how can we find inspiration with the people around us while also understanding like we have built and done what is needed in order for us to move forward. And I think with the Relating card is very central to that sort of theme of just connecting in a real way. And then finally, we have Change Your Tune, Moonlight Serenade. I think that this is, again, maybe just a reminder that having a realistic point of view or perspective is not always going to be in your highest good. And it's funny because I've been seeing all this stuff about like just kind of moving into delusion and, just like actively trying to co-create what it is that you want by being absolutely plugged into that energy to the point to where you almost seem out of sync with the life that you're currently living. And I think that's a great way to connect for like manifestation boards, vision boards, like life movies, whatever you want to call it, is really proactively feeling into the thing that you want coming up for you. But I think that the Change Your Tune is also a reminder that maybe there's some stuff you need to let go of and kind of move on from. And if 2024 has taught me anything, is that as much as you may think you've done some healing, it's going to show you where you haven't, as I have recently been exploring within myself. So I really hope that, you take some time out to maybe change how you've been projecting certain things in your life, or maybe things that have kind of held you back. I think with this, it's almost saying like, let's make it something that's not melancholy. Let's not make it something that is sad and depressing. Thinking about what all hasn't worked out and what all can't work out. It's more of not blocking yourself from the opportunity before you get a chance to kind of get up there. So I think that's what the Change Your Tune card is saying. I really hope that you enjoyed this reading. Thank you so much for joining me. This will be my last weekly check-in for 2024. I hope to continue doing these in 2025 and to offer other information and readings on my channel. Thank you so much for joining me in 2024 as I try to explore YouTube and how it may work for me. And it's something that, well, I was very nervous to start and really actively use. I am coming to really enjoy it, and I love sharing all of the different things, even if like not a million people are seeing my videos. It's great. I really enjoy it, and I really hope that the people that find my videos enjoy what I'm talking about and how I share things. So thank you so much for your support and for trusting me. Please take care. Have a beautiful New Year's. However you spend it and whoever you spend it with, be safe, make good choices, take care of one another, and be kinder than necessary. Have a good one. Take care, stay safe, and adios. Bye.